All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into how contracts are formed in Spain.
Yeah, buckle up.
We've got a really fascinating source for this one.
Oh, yeah?
MCHM
Okay.
They're a Spanish law firm,
Mm-hmm.
and their website is like a goldmine of like clear, practical legal advice on all sorts of topics.
I love that.
Yeah. So we're zeroing in on one very specific question today.
All right.
How were contracts actually born under Spanish law?
Born like little baby contracts.
Exactly.
Right.
And turns out it's more complex than you might think.
It really is. It's a process, yeah.
MCHM lays it out in 3 key phases.
Okay.
The offer, the acceptance, and what they call the perfection of the contract.
Ooh, perfect.
Sounds very official.
I like it.
Yeah. So let's start with phase 1, the offer.
Okay.
I'm already intrigued. What do we need to know?
Well, in Spain, you can't just like toss out some vague idea and call it an offer. It has to be super specific, like a detailed blueprint for the agreement.
Okay.
So we're talking clear terms about what's being exchanged, the price, any timelines, like... Yeah.
So no wishy-washy language here.
No. It's got to be precise.
What happens if someone tries to, like, sneak in a change later?
Okay.
Like, oh, by the way, I actually meant a different price.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Any change to the original offer, that's not acceptance, that's a counteroffer,
Oh,
which basically restarts the whole process, even
Oh.
if the change seems super minor.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So it's like legal ping pong.
kind of, yeah.
Back and
yeah.
forth until you get that perfect match.
Until it's perfect.
Yeah.
What else makes an offer, like, legally solid in Spain?
Well, intention is key.
Yeah.
The offer has to be a genuine commitment
Okay.
to be bound by those terms if the other party accepts.
Mm-hmm.
So, no bait and switch tactics.
Gotcha. So you can't just be like, oh, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not in Spain.
But what if, someone makes an offer
Mm-hmm.
and then, like, has second thoughts?
Okay.
Can they, like, pull it back?
So that's where things get a little bit nuanced. They
Okay.
can revoke the offer,
Mm.
but only before it's been accepted by the other party.
Right.
Unless they've set a specific deadline for acceptance,
Okay.
then it's like, game on.
Oh, so it's like calling dibs, but with, like, legal consequences?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're
Okay, so we've got this clear, detailed offer made with, like, serious intent.
Yep.
What's next in this, like, contract formation dance?
Phase 2, acceptance.
Ooh,
And this isn't just like a casual, sounds good situation.
okay,
Spanish law sets a really high bar for a valid acceptance.
okay.
First off, it has to mirror the offer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
No adding, subtracting, or modifying anything.
So even a tiny tweak, like, turns into a counteroffer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Back to square one.
That's stricter than I imagined.
Yeah, it's serious business.
So what else do we need for, like, a valid acceptance?
Okay, so silence is not golden in Spanish contract law.
Okay,
You have to actively communicate your acceptance
okay.
to the person who made the offer.
Mm-hmm.
No, assuming that no news is good news.
Yeah.
You got to be explicit.
But wouldn't, like, action sometimes speak louder than words?
True.
Yeah.
You're right.
What about, like, when we're online and we're clicking, I agree
Yeah.
to those endless terms and conditions?
Yeah, so you're right. Sometimes action can be acceptance, especially in like the digital world.
Okay.
But the key is it has to be clear and unambiguous.
Right.
Like no room for doubt about your agreement.
All right, so no hiding behind silence.
No
You got to make your acceptance crystal clear.
Exactly.
Anything else?
Timing is crucial.
Okay.
Acceptance has to happen within any deadline set by the efforter
Mm-hmm.
or within a reasonable time frame if no deadline was specified.
Mm-hmm.
And what's considered reasonable, well,
That's tricky.
it can be tricky.
Mm.
Often depends on the circumstances.
So that's a gray area where legal advice would be, like, invaluable.
Oh, for sure.
You don't want to, like, accidentally miss the boat because you were a day late or something?
Exactly. You could miss that window. The offer could be considered revoked.
Oh, wow.
You'd have to start the whole negotiation over.
So time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence.
Okay, so we've got our offer, we've got our acceptance,
Yeah.
all, like, neatly lined up.
Yep.
What is the final piece of this contract puzzle?
Phase 3, the perfection of the contract.
Ooh,
This is the legal term for the moment when the contract actually becomes binding.
okay,
So imagine 2 puzzle pieces clicking perfectly into place.
okay.
That's what we're aiming for.
I like that visual.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, like, signing a piece of paper.
Right.
It's this very specific, like, alignment
Alignment, yeah.
of offer and acceptance.
That makes it official.
Got it. All right.
But there's a catch for this perfection to happen.
Okay.
Several things need to be true.
All right.
And this is where it gets interesting, especially when we start looking at like the nuances of Spanish law.
Lay it on me. What are these, like, essential elements?
Okay, first up, it's something called meeting of the minds.
Meeting of the minds.
That sounds kind of mystical, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But in legal terms, it basically means that both parties have to genuinely agree to the exact same terms.
Okay.
No tricks, no misunderstandings,
Gotcha.
nobody feeling pressured or misled.
So no, like, burying details in the fine print, hoping the other party won't notice.
Right.
It's about, like, true transparency and understanding.
Transparency, absolutely.
Yeah.
Both parties need to be on the same page, fully aware of what they're getting into.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because if the initial offer and acceptance were, like, vague or ambiguous,
Mm-hmm.
that can create real problems with this, meeting of the minds down the line.
Yeah. Can't build a solid contract on, like, a foundation of confusion.
Nope, not going to work.
All right, what's the second element we need for this contract perfection?
Legal capacity,
good.
which means both parties have to be legally allowed to enter into contracts.
Okay.
So, for example, in Spain, you have to be 18 years old to make a legally binding agreement.
Makes sense.
And there can be situations where someone's, legally incapable
Mm-hmm.
due to, like, mental incapacity or other factors.
Right, so it's like a safeguard
Yeah, exactly.
to protect, like, individuals.
To protect individuals, yeah.
And make sure everyone involved is, like, truly capable
yeah.
of making informed decisions
Yeah,
about what they're getting into.
exactly. Ensuring fairness.
Yeah,
Preventing exploitation.
right, because you don't want somebody, like, tricking a minor
Yeah. Into signing a bad contract.
into something they shouldn't be doing.
Exactly. That wouldn't fly in Spain.
Not at all.
Nope.
All right, 2 down, 1 to go.
Okay.
What's the final element needed to solidify our perfect contract?
Legitimate purpose.
Legitimate purpose.
So this means the contract can't be for something illegal
Right.
or unethical.
Yeah.
It has to align with public order
Okay.
and good morals, basically.
Gotcha.
So no contracts for, like, smuggling contraband or anything like that.
Yeah, no shady business deals.
Right.
All right, the core purpose of the agreement
Yes.
has to be legitimate.
Legitimate. Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our 3 core elements.
Yes.
Meeting of the minds,
Yep.
legal capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and legitimate purpose.
Yes.
But you may say, it hints that there's even more to this.
Oh, there's always more.
Right.
It's the law.
They mentioned some additional considerations that can make things even more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we missing?
Well, for starters, some contracts in Spain have to be in writing to be valid.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And certain types even need to be, like, formally notarized.
Oh, wow. So a simple handshake deal might not cut it in some cases.
Not always, no.
What kind of contracts need this, like, extra level of formality?
Okay, so we're not just talking about, like, multi-million-dollar deals here.
Okay.
Think about something like renting an apartment in Spain.
Oh, okay.
A verbal agreement might seem enough, but if there's no written contract,
Yeah.
you could be in for a nasty surprise if a dispute arises.
So even though you have that verbal agreement and, the tenant's paying rent,
Mm-hmm.
it might not hold up in court.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a bit unsettling.
Yeah, it highlights why getting things in writing is so important.
Right, especially for, like, significant transactions.
Especially for big things, yeah.
Yeah, like real estate.
Exactly.
All right, so written contracts.
Yes.
Don't leave home without them.
Especially in Spain.
Yeah, but let's talk about those vices of consent
Okay.
that we touched on earlier.
Yeah, I love this part.
It sounds a little dramatic.
It does, right? But it's important.
Can you give us, like, a real-world example
Sure.
of how that might play out in Spain?
Yeah, let's say you're an elderly person.
Okay.
Selling a valuable piece of art. And then this, like, smooth-talking art dealer approaches you.
Okay.
Showering you with compliments and suggesting that maybe your masterpiece isn't worth as much as you think.
Oh, no.
And maybe they even hint that they're doing you a favor.
Okay.
By offering to buy it.
Right.
And you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, a little pressured,
Right.
and you agree to sell it for way below market value.
Right.
That's a classic example
Yeah.
of someone taking advantage of somebody's vulnerability.
Sure.
It's not outright coercion,
Right.
but there's definitely a sense of undue influence there.
Yeah, for sure.
And in a situation like that, you might have grounds to argue that your consent was, like, vitiated.
Okay.
In other words, it wasn't truly free and informed
Mm.
because of that pressure and manipulation
Right.
from that art dealer.
So the contract could potentially be, like, voided.
Potentially,
Even
yeah.
though you technically signed it willingly.
That's the point. Spanish law recognizes that true consent is absolutely essential for a valid contract.
Right.
It's not just about signatures on paper.
It's about, like, the spirit of the agreements.
It's about ensuring that the agreement was reached fairly and ethically.
This is really interesting. I'm starting to realize that contract law
Yeah.
isn't just about, like, enforcing agreements.
Right.
It's also about making sure that those agreements are reached like fairly and ethically.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's about protecting people
Yeah, that's a good point.
from unfair or exploitative situations.
Yeah, that's a whole different way of looking at it.
And that's why understanding these legal concepts is so empowering.
Right.
It allows you to kind of navigate the complexities of agreements,
Yeah.
whether you're an entrepreneur, a landlord,
Mhm.
just entering into any kind of transaction.
Yeah. Making me really appreciate the role of like legal professionals
Oh,
who
yeah.
can help people navigate all these nuances
For sure.
and make sure their rights are protected.
Absolutely.
It's clear that MCHM Lawyers, like, they really emphasize
Yes.
the importance of like clear, effective
Oh, yeah.
legal advice.
Super important.
And I think that's so crucial,
Yeah.
because legal matters can obviously feel so intimidating,
Totally.
right?
Overwhelming.
Especially if you're in a different country.
Yeah,
Look,
absolutely.
it's a set of laws and procedures.
It's not be a lot.
So having like a resource
Yeah.
like their website
Mm-hmm.
where they explain things in plain language,
Plain language is key.
Yeah.
It can make a huge difference.
it really can't. It's like they're demystifying the law,
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
making it accessible
Yeah.
and understandable for everyone.
That's the goal.
That's what makes this deep dive so valuable.
I'd agree.
We're taking these like complex legal concepts,
Yeah.
breaking them down into bite-sized pieces,
Mm-hmm.
Using real-world
I'll
examples,
keep it real.
relatable language,
Yeah.
and hopefully empowering our listeners to feel more confident and
Exact.
informed when dealing with like legal matters,
Yeah. That's
especially in
all-
Spain.
Especially in Spain.
All right, well said. So we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
exploring how these contract principles come to life
Mm-hmm.
in various scenarios.
Yeah, from entrepreneurs,
Entrepreneurs,
landlords, to tenants.
to art collectors.
Yeah, anybody who's entering into an agreement, really.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to see how these like seemingly dry legal concepts
Right.
have such a direct impact on people's lives,
They do.
on everyday transactions.
For sure.
But as we're wrapping up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I'm left with like one lingering question.
All right, hit me.
What role does technology play in all of this?
Oh, that's the €1,000,000 question these days,
Right.
especially in this digital age. The way we form and execute contract is evolving so rapidly.
Right.
Think about online agreements, electronic signatures, e-commerce.
It's like the legal landscape is being reshaped by technology.
Totally creating all these new opportunities.
challenges.
Challenges, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a whole new world.
It is. And that's actually where we'll pick up
Phew.
in part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Get ready to explore how Spanish contract law is adapting to the digital revolution
Buckle up.
and what you need to know to stay ahead of the curve.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive on Spanish contracts.
It's getting real now.
Yeah, last time we kind of walked through those intricate steps, of how contracts are formed in Spain
Mm-hmm.
from like the initial offer to that moment of perfection.
Yeah. Yes.
But now I want to get down to like brass tacks,
Okay, let's do it.
How do these principles play out in real life?
Yeah, because the law isn't just a bunch of abstract rules. It's
Right.
about how people interact, how agreements are made and broken sometimes.
Absolutely. So let's say you're an entrepreneur.
Okay.
You're eager to launch your new product in Spain.
Exciting.
You find this distributor who seems perfect.
Perfect.
They send you over a detailed proposal
Mm-hmm.
with amazing terms, exclusivity, pricing, marketing support,
It's all
the
there.
whole 9 yards.
There, it sounds good.
We got like a clear intentional offer,
Yeah.
hitting all those key points.
Checking all the boxes.
What could go wrong?
Well, imagine you're not entirely thrilled with the marketing budget they've allocated.
Okay,
You want more bang for your buck,
makes sense.
so you send back a revised proposal with a higher marketing spend.
Yeah, seems like a reasonable negotiation tactic.
Totally. But wait,
Uh-oh.
didn't we learn that any change to the original offer
Oh, no.
creates a counter offer?
You're right.
Yeah.
So we basically restarted the negotiation.
You got it.
It's no longer just like a simple acceptance.
Nope.
The ball is back in their court.
It is.
They have to consider this new offer.
They might accept it, they might reject it, they might come back with their own counter proposal.
So even seemingly small tweaks can have these big legal consequences.
Exactly.
It's like I'm realizing these contract negotiations are like a delicate dance.
It is a dance.
You got to be so careful about the steps you take.
The legal tango?
Right. Especially in like a cross-cultural context.
Oh, yeah.
Like doing business in Spain.
Absolutely.
All right, let's shift gears a bit.
All right.
Let's look at a different scenario.
All right.
Imagine you're a landlord renting out an apartment in Spain.
Okay.
You find a tenant, you agree on the rent and the terms.
Mm-hmm.
You shake hands, they move in.
Easy peasy.
Seems simple enough. What's the catch?
Well, remember those formalities.
Oh, yeah.
Some contracts in Spain have to be in writing
Okay.
to be legally enforceable.
Right.
And guess what? Rental agreements
Oh.
often fall into this category.
So even though we have this like verbal agreement,
Yep.
the tenant's paying rent,
Mm-hmm.
this contract might not actually hold up
If there's a dispute, yeah.
in
You
court.
need that paper trail.
That's a little unsettling.
It is. It highlights why putting things in writing is so important.
Right.
Especially for significant transactions like that.
Like real estate.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Written contract, don't leave home without them.
Especially in Spain.
Especially in Spain. Okay.
Word.
Let's talk about those vices of consent
All right, my favorite.
that we touched on earlier.
Yeah, always a good reminder.
Can you give us like a real-world example of how that might play out in Spain?
Absolutely. So let's say you're an elderly person again.
Okay.
And this time you're selling, I don't know, a valuable piece of jewelry,
Aye.
a family heirloom,
Okay.
and a, let's say, less than scrupulous jeweler comes knocking.
Oh.
They start showering you with compliments, telling you how unique the piece is.
Okay.
But they also suggest that, the market for this kind of jewelry is really down right now.
Oh, no.
They might even imply that they're doing you a favor by offering to take it off your hand.
Right.
So you, feeling a bit overwhelmed, maybe a little unsure,
Yeah.
you agree to sell it, but for a price that's way below its actual value.
Oh, that's not good.
No, that's a red flag. That's a potential vice of consent.
Right, because it's not really coercion.
Right.
But there's that element of pressure.
There's that manipulation, that undue influence,
Yeah.
and that can be enough to invalidate a contract.
Wow, so even though you technically agreed to the sale,
Yeah.
Spanish law might actually protect you.
Exactly, because your consent wasn't truly free and informed.
This is fascinating.
It is. It really shows how Spanish law is designed to protect people,
Right,
especially those who might be more vulnerable.
from being taken advantage of.
Exactly.
That's a really important point.
It is. So it's not just about the letter of the law.
Right.
It's about fairness. It's about ethics.
It's about making sure that the agreement was reached in a way that's like
Right.
truly genuine.
Genuine. Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about these principles.
Hmm.
In theory, and we've seen them play out in these, real-life scenarios.
Yep.
But I keep coming back to this question
Okay.
of technology.
Ah, yes. The digital elephant in the room.
Right, because how do these centuries-old legal principles
Mm-hmm.
apply when we're clicking buttons instead of signing on the dotted line?
It's a great question. And honestly, it's something that legal experts are still grappling with.
Right, because technology is changing everything so fast.
It is. It's like this constant game of catch-up.
Right, and that's actually where we're going to pick up in part 3.
Okay.
We're going to explore how Spanish contract law is adapting to this digital revolution.
Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive.
It's the final countdown.
It is. We've journeyed through this intricate world of Spanish contracts.
From handshakes to high tech.
Right, from those traditional handshakes to those more nuanced vices of consent.
Always a fun topic.
Right.
But now it's time to really step into the digital age.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
How do these centuries-old legal principles apply, when we're clicking buttons instead of signing on the dotted line?
It's the million-euro question, right?
It really is. So let's just start with the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Online contracts.
All right.
Those endless terms and conditions that we scroll through.
Without reading.
Right, click-wrap agreements, e-signatures. Are these even legally binding in Spain?
That is the question, and the answer is, in many cases, yes.
Okay.
Spanish courts have generally upheld the validity of electronic contracts,
Okay.
but there are some caveats.
Okay, so just because it's online doesn't mean it's like a free-for-all?
No, not at all.
What are those caveats?
Well, remember those fundamental principles of contract formation.
Oh, yeah.
Offer, acceptance, consent, capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Those still apply in the digital realm.
So it's not like the Wild West out there in cyberspace.
Not quite, no. Spanish law still requires those core elements
Right.
to be present for a contract to be enforceable,
Okay.
even if it's formed online.
Okay, so how does offer work
Okay,
in the context of like an online contract?
yeah.
Is it just as simple as like a product description on a website?
Think about it this way.
Okay.
You're on an e-commerce site.
Mm-hmm.
You add an item to your cart.
Yeah.
Proceed to checkout.
Mm-hmm.
The website is basically presenting you with an offer.
Okay.
The terms of the sale are all laid out.
Okay.
Price, delivery details, return policies, the whole shebang.
Right. And clicking that buy now button
Yes.
is like our digital version of saying I accept.
Exactly. But here's the thing.
Okay.
That offer still needs to be clear
Okay.
and unambiguous,
Okay.
outlining all the essential details.
So no like hiding crucial information
Right.
in the fine print
No sneaky tactics.
or using vague language.
No, it's got to be straightforward.
That could lead to like misunderstandings.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you end up in those frustrating situations where you think you're getting free shipping,
Yeah.
but it turns out there are all these hidden conditions.
Buried in the terms and conditions.
Right, deep down there.
Nobody reads those.
that's why it's still so important to read those online agreements.
It is. I know it's tempting to just click and go.
Oh, yeah.
But if you don't understand the terms,
Yeah.
you could be setting yourself up for trouble later on.
So true. So offer and acceptance in the digital world seems pretty straightforward conceptually.
Yeah, it's the same basic idea.
But what about consent?
Good question.
Like, how do you prove genuine agreement
Yeah.
when you're just clicking buttons and checking boxes?
This is a big one, and it's something that Spanish law is really trying to figure out.
Okay.
Because just presenting a wall of text and making people click agree,
Right.
that might not be enough to show real informed consent.
Yeah, it's like those cookie banners where you have no real choice.
Click or leave.
Right.
Not a real choice.
You got to accept all the tracking or leave the website.
Exactly. So there needs to be a real opportunity to understand the terms.
Okay.
To make a choice.
Informed choice.
An informed choice, yes. And some websites are better at this than others.
Right.
You know, using clear language, breaking things down, giving users more control.
So it sounds like transparency and like user-friendliness
No.
are becoming even more important in the digital age.
Absolutely. Even when it comes to legal agreements.
Yeah, makes sense. So speaking of protection,
Okay.
what about legal capacity in the online world?
Yeah. How do you know if someone's old enough to be entering into this agreement?
Right.
Or if they have the mental capacity to understand what they're agreeing to?
Right, when they're just like an anonymous user behind a screen.
Right. It's a challenge, and there are different approaches. Some websites use those age verification tools, like entering your birthday or even uploading your idea.
Right.
Others rely more on disclaimers and user declarations.
Okay.
Basically trusting that people will be honest about their age and capacity.
Yeah, it's like, how do you find that balance?
Exactly. Between protecting people
Yeah.
and not making online transactions like super complicated.
Right.
It's a work in progress.
It is. Technology's always like pushing the boundaries.
It is, and the law is trying to keep up.
Okay, so we've talked about offer, acceptance, consent
Big three.
in the digital realm.
Mm-hmm.
What about those digital signatures we hear so much about?
Yes, the e-signature.
Are they as legally valid as like a pen and paper signature in Spain?
In most cases, yes.
Right.
Spanish law does recognize electronic signatures.
Okay.
As long as they meet certain criteria.
What kind of criteria?
It's all about making sure the signature is reliable
Uh-huh.
and secure.
Okay.
So the system has to be able to verify the identity of the person signing, make sure the document hasn't been tampered with,
Okay.
and keep a record of who signed what and when.
So it's not just like typing your name in a box.
Nope. It's way more sophisticated for that.
There's a whole lot of technology behind it.
There is. It's pretty cool, actually.
It's fascinating how technology is both like challenging these legal frameworks, but also giving us the tools to like do things better.
It's a two-way street.
It is like it's forcing us to rethink how we approach contracts.
Totally.
But it's also making the whole process more efficient.
More secure.
More secure, yeah.
It's a brave new world.
It really is. And this is just the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
As technology keeps evolving,
At warp speed.
we can expect even more innovations
Absolutely.
in how we like form and execute contracts.
Smart contracts, blockchain, AI, the possibilities are endless.
It's mind-boggling.
It is, and for anyone doing business in Spain or anywhere in the world, really,
Right.
it's crucial to stay informed.
Right.
The legal landscape is changing so fast.
Constantly evolving.
What was cutting edge yesterday
Right.
might be obsolete tomorrow.
It's a good reminder that learning is a lifelong journey.
It is, especially in a field like law.
It's true. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have, from the basics to the digital frontier.
It's been a whirlwind tour of like legal concepts, practical examples,
Real world stuff.
thought-provoking insights.
Hopefully we've sparked some curiosity
Yeah, I hope so too.
about this fascinating world of Spanish contract law.
I think we have, hopefully you, our listener, are walking away with like a deeper understanding of how contracts work.
In the real world and online.
Exactly, both in the traditional sense and in this digital sphere.
It's all connected.
It really is. But this is just a starting point.
It is. Always more to learn.
So if you're ever in doubt about a legal matter,
Especially with contracts.
right, don't rely on Google or casual advice. Please,
Start to a lawyer.
tailored to your specific situation.
Absolutely.
And on that note, we'd like to thank mchmabogados,
Our legal guides.
whose website provided the basis for this fascinating deep dive.
A wealth of information.
We'll be sure to include their contact information in the show notes.
So check it out.
And remember, listener, never stop learning.
Never stop questioning.
And keep diving deep into this ever-evolving world of knowledge.
Until next time.
Stay curious.